All right, guys, today we're going to be doing some mobility. So we're going to have a nice video, bunch of movements to kind of loosen up the full body. If you have a mat, I would put your mat down on the ground. I have a matted floor here, but grab out your yoga mat, a thick one, a thin one, anything works. And we're going to get started on the ground. So the first stop is called sunrise arms. And what we're going to do is we are going to bend both knees, lay all the way down on the ground in a closed book position. Knees and hips are at 90 degrees and hands are right in front of us. From here, we're going to try to keep a point of contact with the ground as we go all the way around. Look at that hand, feel that big stretch, and then we'll return and come back there. Pause for a second, take a big deep breath, and we're going again. We're going to go 5 on each side. You want to make sure to control each movement. Feel that big stretch between the arms, the chest, the shoulders. Sometimes you can get some in that low back and hip as well. If you want a little extra back and hip, you can always straighten the bottom leg. So top knee stays bent, bottom leg straightens out, and then we have a big, big stretch for that sunrise, and then pulling it back together. From there, we're gonna switch sides. So we're gonna boom, boom, bump it right on over to the other side. Both knees are bent. Arms are right in front of us. Try to keep a point of contact with the ground the whole time. So you want your fingertips touching the ground if you can. That's what we're really looking for with that shoulder mobility as you wrap it around. You might find that when you start, your shoulder hovers and you're not able to touch the ground. That's okay. Just when you can, go super slow. Feel that big old stretch in the chest. Tuck that shoulder right where it needs to be, and then bring it all the way back from the beginning. Same thing, if you want, you can straighten that bottom leg, get a little extra back and hip as you rotate. Follow that hand to the other side, pulling it back together, and then squeezing in there. We're gonna go another big, big one, wrapping it all the way around. Big stretch, big breath. And then come all the way forward. From here, we're going to come to a child's pose. So both knees are going to come hip width apart, if not a little more. Hands come to the ground, and we're going to reach our hands forward as we sit our butt back. Trying to reach our butt all the way to the heels. Take a big deep breath, and then we're going to come forward and out of that stretch. So feet are hip width, reach those fingers forward as we sit that butt back. You want the top of those feet on the ground. Feel that big stretch as you reach your fingers and sink it. And then come forward, squeeze the core, lock it out. Making sure to take big inhales, big exhales. Coming in, squeeze the glutes, squeeze the core, reset it, and then that big, big push back. Feeling that nice big stretch. We're gonna go one more here, and then we're gonna add a nice little rotation to our child's pose. So, as we come forward, we're in on all fours. We are going to thread the needle. So our arm is going to come through and underneath. Palm is going to be up, and then we're also going to sit that butt back just a little bit. Feel that nice stretch in the shoulder, in the hip and back. Come up and out like we did before. Squeeze the glutes and core. Then reset. Twist to that other side, feel that big stretch in the shoulder blade, sink back just an inch if you can, and then coming back to neutral. Only reaching to where it feels comfortable as you bring that arm under. Feel that big, big stretch in the shoulder blade. These are always good to do in the morning if you feel like your shoulders and neck are tight. As you switch it out, it's going to get that nice whole body movement. Taking a big deep breath as you rock it. I'm gonna go one more to each side. Feel that big, big reach, reach, reach that arm. Sit your butt back that extra inch if you can. Couple breaths. Last one on that left arm, swooping it through the middle, reaching those fingers as far as they can go. And then coming out of that nice stretch. From here, we're going to a quad rock. So from the front, both knees are going to be bent. You are going to kick one leg out to the side. Your toes are engaged with the floor. They're holding on, and you want this knee a little wider than your hip. It's going to get right into those inner thighs. Hands are going to be in front of us, and then from here, we're going to sink back. Feel that stretch in the inner thigh and in the quad. You're going to feel a little in your shoulder blades as well. You can even reach those fingers forward a little. Sinking back to right before where you hit that uncomfortable spot. Feel that nice big stretch in your inner thigh. Make sure those toes are staying engaged with the ground. And then bringing it back forward. I like if my feet are flat in the back, so the tops of my feet are on the bottom of the ground. We're gonna go one more for 5. Feel that big stretch. You can add that little finger reach down there. Really dig those toes to the ground. And then we'll come forward and switch. So over, kick that foot out to the side. Hands come right in front of you. Knee is a little wider than your hip. And then from there, we're going to sink it back. Oh, yeah. This leg's a little tighter for me, so you'll see I might not go as far back as we were on the other side. Just make sure that those toes stay down. They like to scooch up and kind of take away from that extra stretching that we get. Reaching those fingers forward a little if you want to add some upper body. Big sink as we go back. Coming forward, feeling the quad, feel that inner thigh, getting it all in there. Good. Couple more. Big sink back. Ooching it forward. Good. From here, we're going to come to a 3-way hip flexor. So we're going to work the top of those quads. First stop is we're bringing one foot forward. So directly in front of us, you want to think 90 degrees and 90 degrees. Back toe's going to dig in. So we're going to lock in the glute, lock in that belly button, holding super, super strong. And from here, we're going to lift the arms up, and we're just going to go forward just a little to where you feel that big pull. Make sure everything stays nice and tight, and then bring it back. Reach, reach, reach as you come forward. As long as everything's locked, you don't want to go too far. So we don't want to be here where we let go. We just want to feel that deep hip flexor and then bring it back. If you don't love the arms going up, you can always put hand on the knee, but make sure you're pushing that knee outward towards your pinky toe as you go. So if you're forward, we're here. Boom, just push it out a little bit so it's not going over that big toe. But if you like, arms can swoop up. You'll get a little more core stretch, a little more through that rib cage if you're feeling nice and tight. And then switching legs from there. Boop, boop, coming forward. Lock in that glute, lock in those abs, hold everything nice and tight. And then we're gonna come forward on a nice exhale, and then bring it back down. Feel that big stretch in that hip. You want to feel it right in the front, and then come on back to neutral. Good. And then same thing, if you don't love the arms, you can always put one arm on the knee, both arms, or you can do a little half and half action where that same leg that's back is the arm that goes up. From this position, or from the first leg, whatever you guys feel better, we're gonna rotate and we're gonna twist and reach. So if you can reach the ground, that is great. Try to get a fingertip. If not, you can always put a little pillow or something on the side, or just kind of help your hips by moving side to side, by scooching them over yourself. Hand can go right on the side, gives you a little extra balance, and then a nice little push. Good, letting the hips kind of move as you go. Couple in each direction, and then whoop, whoop. Lock it in, nice and tight, and then we're going up and over. All the angles, making sure to get the inside and the outside, getting those hips mobile in all different directions as we go. Good, remembering that the core stays tight. It's okay if your balance is a little off. You can put something beside you if you need to as you go. Good. And then we're going to be going back to that other leg to add a little twist in the front. From here, same thing. Core is nice and tight. We're super strong. And then we're going to reach, reach, reach. Bring it back. Reach and bring it back. Letting your hips rotate to where they want to, but still keep that core engaged. Still feel that nice stretch in the front of that quad muscle. Getting a few on each side. At least 5 in each direction to feel that big pull. Good. And then we'll switch it again. Boom. Lock it in. Squeeze the core. We're going to reach it out. Reach it out. Same thing as I said before. You might feel that one side's a little tighter or a little looser than the other side. That's totally normal. Our bodies are not completely equal, unfortunately, but by doing the mobility, it's going to help kind of even them out as you go. Feel that big pull. All right, we're going to go back to that first knee for the last time, and we're going to angle it. So from here, you're going to bring your front foot forward and out to the side. You want to think about shifting your hip sideways, pushing your knee over your pinky toe. You're going to feel a nice stretch in the inner thigh. You're going to feel it right in the back of the leg or the inside of this leg, and then same thing, back to neutral. Big push, push, push. Feel a stretch. Feel that stretch. Hang for a few, and then bringing it back. Make sure that this front knee is pushing out almost over that pinky toe, but your whole foot is engaged with the ground. So you don't want those toes coming up too much and kind of losing that extra stability that we have. Good. Some people like to give a little wiggle sometimes. So if you're there and you want to give it a little extra push on the last couple, see how it feels. Good. And then we're going to swoop-de-doop, switching them out. Nice little angle. You want this foot in front of your knee so you have some extra room to work. And then bring it back to neutral. Knee pushes out. Let that hip kind of sink to the side and then bringing it back. Good, same thing, feeling that inner hip, feeling the back and inside of this one. I get a little bit of outer when I'm pushing it that way. Just making sure all those muscles feel good, feel loosey-goosey by the end of this, and you're feeling super, super strong. Good, we're gonna go one more, adding a couple little pulses in there. Really pushing that leg or sneaking in a couple extra if you need to. Great. From here, we're going to a downward dog. So starting on the knees, hands are going to be on the ground. From here, you want to kick out your feet to hip width apart. And we're going to push the floor away. Allow your butt and your hips to go up towards the ceiling. Dig, dig, dig those palms into the ground. And then we're going to come forward and lock it out in a nice plank. Glutes and core are nice and strong. Back is flat. Then again, we're going to push back. we're going to work with our calf. So what we're going to do is we're going to alternate, put a little extra weight on one foot, try to hit that calf to the ground, give it a couple pulses, and then switch to the other side. Most of the weight goes into that other leg. Dig, dig, dig that calf, and then we'll come forward and lock it out. Big push back. Feel that back. Feel those hips, and then push the calf. 3 to 5. 3 to 5. Roll it in. We're going to go last one from here. Big, big calf push. And then this time as we come forward from our downward dog, we're going to go into a pigeon stretch. So our leg is going to fold. Our knee is going to come to the same elbow, and then we're going to sink back through the back leg for a pigeon stretch. So rotating just a little. Boom. From here, hands come down. It's going to be that big push back like we talked about. Feel that awesome, awesome down dog stretch everywhere. Those shoulders, that back. Fold forward, rotate to a pigeon, and then drop and sink through that back leg. Some people like to give themselves a little wiggle. Some people like to go down further to their elbows. Big push, reset it all. Squeeze forward and rotate. If your foot does not get all the way turned, that is okay. We will eventually get there. If you can practice getting a little lower, feeling where that hip needs a little extra stretch, giving it that big push away, and then doing it again. Fold in, drop that foot, give it a little wiggle, and bring it down. We're just going to switch 2 more pigeon stretches per leg. So we're just going to come up, switch knees, fold and sink. Showing you from the front side. Leg is rotated. As you can see, my leg is not completely at 90 degrees. My hips don't get there yet, but every day we're practicing that hip mobility, dropping down if you need to. And then boop, boop, little switch, sink back through that leg, bring it down, and a little wiggle. If coming down is too much, totally feel free to stay up there. It kind of adds a little extra of the stretch, but some people like to feel it in those different areas as they go. We're going to go one more on the other side. And then we're going to come back to all fours. Good, same thing, nice little wiggle there. Coming back. And we're going to come to a beautiful cat-cow position. So cat-cow is going to start on all fours. What we're going to do is we're going to take a big inhale, and as we inhale, we're going to fill up our lungs, squeeze everything up, and then exhale. Squeeze everything up towards the ceiling. Let your belly drop and your hips go up. Good. Feel that big sink. Push the floor, squeeze the core, dig it all. Looking down. Let the belly drop. Look to the sky. Feel a big stretch. Same thing. Some people like to give a little wiggle. Squeeze everything if you want a little wiggle. And then bringing it back. After the cat-cow, we got some hip circles. So our hips are going to start at 90 degrees, how we are on all fours. And then we're going to bring leg back, out, and around. You want to make the biggest circle possible with your knee. Back, out, and around. Pretend there's a Sharpie on there, and you want to draw as big as you can when you come in, okay? So draw it around, swoop-de-doop, and then bring it in. We're gonna go one more for 5, but if you wanna sprinkle some extra, you can. After you went backwards, we are now gonna come forward, out, and around. So bring it up, around that elbow, and tuck back into that neutral position. If you feel like your wrists are starting to bother you, you can see that I kind of went on my fists for a couple of them, letting your knuckles go nice and flat so it takes some pain off your wrists, just as a little idea as you go. And then we're gonna switch those legs. So I'm gonna turn this way. We're gonna get on all fours, bring that foot back, wrap it all the way around, reset. Good, feeling that hip open up all the way. Biggest circle you can possibly make. Beautiful. Once you did those 5 coming forward, find that reset spot, squeeze and bring it out. Good, or once you did the 5 going backward, whichever direction you kind of started in. Some days we go forward first, other days we go backwards. It's just what our brains are doing. Good, same thing, as big as you can. Wrap it around, open it up, and then bringing it back down. From here, we're gonna go to a beautiful Frogger stretch. So we're gonna bring our knees wider than hip width today. Boom, boom. Feet are gonna turn out towards the side. So the insides of your feet are gonna be down on the ground. Knees and inside of your thighs are gonna be on the ground. And then we're gonna come to our elbows. From here, we're gonna rock forward. Sit back to where you feel that nice stretch on the insides of the legs. So I'm gonna rotate this way, knees out, feet out, coming down. Start with that back nice and flat. Rock back to where it's comfortable. That's a nice snug spot. And then coming out and feeling good. Big push back, take a nice exhale. Inhale and come out of it. Good. These tend to be really tight on people. People have very tight rotators and inner thighs. So if you need to, coming tall is totally fine. It takes some pressure off and you might be able to go back a little further. But if you feel good or need to take some pressure off those wrists, you can bring it back into that nice little forearm style from here. We're gonna go one more and then we're gonna pop up into our next stretch. Good, you can add that little pulse at the end if you're feeling good. See if you can ooch it a little further. And then we're coming to the world's greatest stretch. So if you guys have done a Spider-Man before, it is very similar. We are going to bring one foot forward, hands down to the ground, and then pop into a plank. So you want your hands and your front foot lined up. From here, the same arm as the foot that's forward is gonna rotate and reach to the sky. You're gonna get that big stretch through the hips, through the core, through the shoulders and back. You're gonna bring it down, step one foot to that perfect plank, step the other foot forward. If you need to, you can drop the knee and readjust. That is totally fine. Then from here, we're gonna add that twist. So push the floor away, reach to the ceiling, feel an awesome stretch through both hips, through the chest, through the arms. Bring it down. Like I said, we can either do a plank or you guys can bring it to the knee. Swoop it around to adjust and then rotate from there. Big stretch. Fingers reach to the ceiling. Bring it in. Switch it on out. Find that sweet spot. Reach and push. Follow that hand with your eyes. Good. So if you need to, knee can stay down the whole time. So knee can stay nice and light on the ground. We can go here and we can just add that twist here. If pushing away is too much, that's totally okay. Boom, boom, add a little twist. Or if you want, you can also stay on that knee and you can add a little dip. So the inside elbow is going to dip down, then it's going to reach out. So some people like to stay on one side if they're doing the dip and the rotate. Other people like to alternate. It's totally up to you guys. If you realize you like to add the dip and you kind of want to stay on one side, add the dip, and then stay on the other side. From our plank position, we are just gonna walk it on up. Whew. Some standing stretches. So stop number 1 is going to be hamstring to a squat. So this is going to help increase our squat mobility. Feel that nice stretch in the hamstrings. So hands come down right in the middle. And then from here, we're going to drop our butt. If your feet need to rotate a little, that's perfectly fine. And then sink back and wiggle it out for a second. Hands go on the ground. Sit those hips back nice and far to feel that big stretch in those hamstrings. I like to give it a little wiggle. And then drop it back down. Push those knees out with your elbows. And then coming down to the ground. Trying to have your whole foot on the ground if you guys can. If you need to, you can widen your stance, but make sure you're not just sitting up on those tippy toes. You want to get the whole foot down and kind of focus on that full ankle mobility as you go. Gonna turn to the side for that little angle. Nice big hamstring stretch, so give it that little wiggle. From here, we're gonna drop it down, sink it back, drive those knees out, and feel that good little wiggle. Last one, and then from here, we're going to open our feet wider. So boom, 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 boom. Feet are nice and wide. Hands are gonna go down in the middle, and we're gonna add a rotation. So from here, hands are down, push the floor away, reach, reach, reach to the sky. Bring it back down, feel that beautiful hamstring stretch. Reach and repeat. Making sure that you're not just wiggling the hand up there. You really want to engage that bottom arm. Reach with the other one. If the ground is too far away, you guys can always put a pillow on the ground. You can add a mat to the floor under your hands. Or if you need to, you can walk over to that one leg, hold on to it, and then push from there. Boop, boop, boop. Grab that leg if you can't reach. Hold on, and then add that big twist. From here, you can walk the feet in an inch or two, and we're gonna sink to a side-to-side lateral lunge. So lunge comes down, weight goes to the heels, everything comes back, and then we'll bring it to the center. Lunge down. Your hands have many options. They can come on the leg that you're working on if you need to. They can follow them over and come all the way down to the inside. One can go in or out. Help you kind of get each side moving. All the weight goes on that one leg to the outside, and then from there, we'll walk it over to the other. Good, feeling that big, big stretch in that inner thigh. Hopefully they're a little loose from some of the other things we did before. And then from here, you can just walk those feet in, squeeze your belly button, and roll it all the way up. Couple more stretches left. We're going to use a wall if you have it, or a chair if you need it. What we're going to do is we are going to cross our inside leg over, push the hip out, and reach, reach, reach to the side. Bring it back down, coming to neutral. Reach over, feel that big, big stretch, and then come to the side. If you don't have a wall or anything next to you and you feel like you have good balance, you can cross one side. It's the side that you're going towards is the one that crosses over, okay? Bring it back. Cross over one, reach with the other. It's great if you have a wall, you can use a little bit of that leverage to kind of push your hip out, get that big, big reach from there, and then pulling it back in. You want to feel that whole IT band, the side, reach those fingers to the sky, and then pulling it down. Good. We're going to go one more. And then from here, getting some figure 4 stretches. So same thing, if you have a wall, you can definitely use it. Heel goes right over the knee. We're going to sink back so our leg is making a 4. So from here, I like to tell people, push your hand out on the knee that's there. So over, on, and then push the knee out. You want to feel that hip, feel that rotator, and it's going to increase stability in your other leg as well. Bring it up, hip width apart so you have a little balance. Cross over. This is my bad foot if you couldn't tell. Good. Find that sweet spot with balance. I like to stare at the floor. Bring it up, swap it out, and sink it down. Some people like to add a little pulse, like I said, to certain movements. So if you feel good here, you can add a couple pulses, really pushing that knee out, 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 reset, and switch. Whoop. Reset, and switch. Good. Last one. And to finish, we're going to open up those shoulders. So started with the chest. We're going to finish it off. Hands are going to come on your shoulders. We're going to make the biggest circle that you possibly can, just like we did with the hip circles. Drive your elbows up. Reach them around and out, and then squeeze to come back in. Reach up, reach around, bring it in. These can be done seated, they can be done kneeling, they can be done standing. After we go backwards, then we're gonna come forwards. Fingertips stay, wrap, wrap, wrap it around, and then bring it in. Big swoop, bring it back down. Last one. And good. So that is your mobility workout for today. I hope you felt everything get a little loose, a little goosier, all up in your body. I hope you continue to do this every day so you can start reaping the benefits of looser joints, feeling the mobility in your workouts, and just feeling stronger and more comfortable as you go. I cannot wait to see you soon.